If you wake up 10 years from now and realize that the reason your financial life never improved was not because you were unlucky or because you did not work hard, but because of a few small decisions you made in your 20s, decisions that felt normal at the time, but slowly shaped your future in ways you never expected. The truth is that your 20s are one of the most powerful financial decades of your life, yet most people waste this advantage without realizing it. They assume they have endless time to figure things out later, but the habits you build during this decade often determine whether your 30s become a time of opportunity or a time of financial struggle. And the scary part is that millions of people repeat the exact same money mistakes every year, not because they want to fail, but because nobody ever clearly explains how money actually works. So if you are currently in your 20s or even approaching your 30s, there's a good chance that avoiding just a few of these mistakes could completely change the direction of your financial future. The first mistake that quietly keeps many people poor is trying to look successful instead of actually becoming successful. We live in an era where appearances are constantly rewarded, especially online, where it feels like everyone is living a perfect life filled with luxury vacations, expensive cars, designer clothes, and endless celebrations. But what you rarely see behind those images is the financial pressure hiding underneath, the credit card balances, the personal loans, the monthly payments, and the constant stress of trying to maintain a lifestyle that costs more than a person actually earns. When you spend money trying to impress other people, you are essentially trading your long-term financial freedom for short-term attention from people who will forget about your purchase in a few days. Truly wealthy individuals rarely play this game. They focus on building assets, investing their money, and creating opportunities that grow over time, while others are busy trying to look rich. Financially disciplined people are quietly becoming rich behind the scenes. The second mistake is failing to learn how money really works. Most people spend over a decade in school studying subjects that may never play a role in their daily lives, yet almost nobody teaches how to manage income, build wealth, invest wisely, understand taxes, and control spending habits. This means that when many young adults finally start earning money, they repeat the same financial patterns they saw growing up. They spend everything they earn and save whatever is left, which often ends up being nothing. People who eventually achieve financial independence approach this differently. They treat financial knowledge as one of the most valuable skills they can develop. They read books about investing. They listen to financial discussions. They study successful entrepreneurs, and they gradually build an understanding of how money flows and multiplies. Because once you understand how money behaves, your decisions begin to change. You start thinking about the long-term consequences of spending, saving, and investing. And that awareness alone can completely transform your financial future. The third mistake is relying on only one source of income. Many people grow up believing that the safest financial path is finding a stable job and staying loyal to that job for decades. But in reality, depending on a single paycheck is one of the most fragile financial strategies you can have. Companies close, industries evolve, automation replaces jobs, and economic changes can disrupt even the most secure careers. When your entire livelihood depends on one employer, you are placing your future in a situation you cannot fully control. Financially aware individuals recognize this risk early and begin looking for ways to build additional income streams. This does not mean you need to launch a massive business immediately. It could start with freelancing, learning a valuable skill, creating digital products, building an online presence, investing in assets, or developing a side project that generates income outside of your primary job. Multiple income streams do not just increase the amount of money you earn, they also create security, flexibility, and independence because your financial life is no longer tied to a single source. The fourth mistake is ignoring the power of time. When it comes to investing, time is the most powerful advantage young people possess, yet it is also the advantage that most people waste. Many individuals believe they need a large amount of money before they can start investing, so they delay the idea for years, waiting until they feel financially comfortable before beginning. But investing is not about starting with large amounts. It is about starting early and remaining consistent. Even small investments made regularly during your 20s can grow into significant wealth over time thanks to compound growth, which means your money begins generating additional returns, and those returns continue producing even more growth. The earlier you start, the stronger this effect becomes. Waiting even 5 or 10 years can dramatically reduce the amount of wealth you could potentially build throughout your lifetime. The fifth mistake that traps many people financially is lifestyle inflation. This occurs when someone begins earning more money but immediately increases their spending to match their higher income. Someone receives a promotion and suddenly upgrades their car, moves into a more expensive apartment, buys more expensive clothes, and increases their daily spending habits. Before long, their expenses grow so quickly that they feel just as financially pressured as they did before, even though their income has increased. Financially disciplined individuals behave differently. When their income grows, they increase their savings and investments first, and only then carefully upgrade their lifestyle. This creates a gap between what they earn and what they spend, and that gap is where wealth is built. The sixth mistake is surrounding yourself with people who have destructive financial habits. The people you spend the most time with influence your mindset, your expectations, and your behavior more than you might realize. If your environment constantly encourages overspending, complaining about work, avoiding growth, and rejecting ambition, it becomes very difficult to create a different financial future. However, when you surround yourself with people who value learning, discipline, entrepreneurship, and personal growth, your perspective begins to shift. You start asking better questions, thinking about bigger opportunities, and setting higher standards for your own life. Your environment quietly shapes what you believe is possible, and choosing the right circle can dramatically accelerate your financial growth. The seventh and perhaps most dangerous mistake of all is believing that you have plenty of time. Many people in their 20s delay taking control of their finances because they assume they will figure things out later. They say they will start saving when they earn more money, start investing when they're older, or become financially disciplined sometime in the future. But time moves faster than most people expect. The years that seem distant today pass quickly, and before they realize it, they're entering their 30s or 40s, wishing they had started earlier. The reality is that financial success is rarely built through one dramatic decision. It is created through many small choices, repeated consistently over time. Saving a portion of your income, learning new financial concepts, developing valuable skills, building additional income streams, and practicing discipline in your spending. Your 20s are not just about enjoying life, they're about building the foundation for the life you want in the future. The habits you create today, the knowledge you gain, and the discipline you practice will influence your opportunities for decades to come. The difference between people who remain trapped in financial stress and those who achieve financial freedom rarely comes down to luck or intelligence. It usually comes down to awareness, discipline, and the willingness to start earlier than everyone else. So if you truly want to avoid the mistakes that keep millions of people struggling financially, remember these simple principles. Stop trying to impress people with temporary purchases. Focus on learning how money works. Build multiple income streams. Start investing as early as possible. Control lifestyle inflation. Choose your environment carefully. And most importantly, stop waiting for the perfect moment to begin. Because the sooner you take control of your financial life, the sooner you move from surviving paycheck to paycheck to building real, lasting wealth that gives you freedom, security, and the ability to design a future that many people only wish they had started building sooner.